3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Triad of the Force podcast, a podcast from 3 Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd-related media. This is season 3, and today we're going to be taking a little break from Star Wars because as much as we do love the Star Wars, there is a lot of other nerd media out there that is good, and we want to talk about it. So today we are going to be talking about The Sandman. It was so good and surprising because it just hit me from left field. I hadn't heard nothing about it. And the whole series is on Netflix. There's going to be a lot of spoilers. So just do yourselves a favor and go watch it because it's really, really good. And I know there's been a lot of gatekeeping about this series, but don't worry about it.
Fans gatekeeping something? Oh my God.
But don't worry about it because I went in this completely blind. Like I had never read the graphic novel. I didn't know anything about it. And I was still able to like be fully immersed in it and really enjoyed it. So all of those of you that are gatekeeping, frankly, just shut the fuck up and just let people enjoy the media that they enjoy. Thank you. So what did we think about The Sandman?
It was interesting. I've heard about Sandman in passing, and obviously, like, I'm not a Neil Gaiman fan in the sense that, like, I'm a fan in the sense that, like, I like the things I've seen from him.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan in the sense that I follow up with everything or I'm deep in the lore and stuff like that. So I had been aware that there was the show in production and that Netflix was doing it and that the casting was amazing and all that stuff. So it was in the back of my mind. And then when it came out, I was like, I'll eventually get to it. Because like you said at the beginning, right? There's so much stuff out right now. It's just like we're in the golden age of streaming. And I think like there's a bubble and it's gonna collapse because there's so much. It's so much.
There's so much.
You cannot keep up with it. Like The Boys, I haven't been able to watch. It's just like
that was good.
Umbrella Academy, I haven't been able to finish. Like I'm halfway through the season, I haven't been able to finish. It's like so much stuff, like so much content that like, and it's good content. It's the thing.
There's good stuff.
You can say there's a lot of stuff, but it sucks. It's like okay, well, there's still
it's
only a couple. But no, there's a lot of crap. A lot of crap, and it's not crap. It's actually good. So it's impossible to keep up with it. So I was afraid that Sandman was going to become one of those things that I just put on the watch list. It's on my letterbox. I'm going to watch it eventually. And then
I bugged you about it.
And then it just does. But exactly. And then you were like, hey,
for me.
Watch it.
It was like, hey, instead of like, hey, you up, it's like, hey, what you watching? No, I'm watching anything right now. Come on, okay, let's watch Sandman. This is good. Come on, okay. So I'm reading Shadow of the Sith right now by Christopher, I forgot his name. I'm not gonna butcher it. Sorry, Star Wars fans. I'm in Sandman mode right now. I was reading Shadow of the Sith, and I'm about to finish on Sunday. I was gonna be like, okay, I'll just watch a couple of episodes of Sandman since Nani recommended it, and she usually does good recommendations. And after 2 episods, I just open my book and finish. I'm gonna finish my Star Wars book. Obviously, my true allegiance is to the Force. And then all of a sudden, I start Sandman. I'm just like, fuck.
It's impossible to just watch those first 2 episodes.
I was just like, well, I guess I'm not reading tonight. So I think that's my review, right? Like it was a show that I really couldn't stop watching. Basically binged all 10 episodes in 2 days. I mean, I would have finished it on Monday, but I had to go to sleep.
Go to work.
I had work the next day. But I absolutely loved it. I thought it was visually stunning. I thought like the concept of the show was just amazing in terms of like how it just adapted a lot of like these mythological and religious stories into like a modern context and have them all kind of play amongst each other. So anyone who watches the channel knows that all of us really love mythology and stuff like that. So to see it like in this modern perspective, it's always refreshing. And not beyond like visuals and mythic stuff and all that good fun things, just the performances were amazing. And the story itself was very, very captivating. There were some things I had issue with, especially like with the latter half of the season, but I think we can get to that once we get into the meat and potatoes, right, of the show. But that was like my initial reaction. I think I talked a lot. So what did you think, Joanne?
Yeah, I definitely have to say that it goes the same for me. I'm not a big fan of it, but I started watching it and it was really great. I have to say that there were some episodes that were good, but others were really good. So
Oh, okay, I thought you were gonna be good, and then this sucked. Good, good
so
to be good
I
and
have
good.
to say good, so not to say that they were really bad, but
Oh, we can say
we
it.
can be honest.
but yeah, I have to say that episode 5 hit me and it was really good. So
Yeah.
I think that's yeah. I felt like that episode was gonna be bad because when it started, I'm just like, what the
Very
what is
confused.
this?
Like, what is
Right,
happening?
Yeah, I'm just like, what the hell is this like non sequitur here? And all of a sudden, it was just like,
Oh, this is amazing.
right.
Amazing.
I would have to say that on episode 2, like I really didn't want to continue watching it, but but you know, I continued and
Yeah,
it was really great.
I have to watch it.
I have to watch it
for the triad.
all for the triad.
Thank you. Well, we're definitely glad. We're definitely glad that we forced you to enjoy it. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to know though. Right before we start dissecting the rest of the series, what was about like episode 2 or whichever other episodes that kind of made you feel okay, maybe not
This
for me, not my vibe.
Yeah.
What was going on with those episodes that kind of turned you off a little bit with the series?
Right.
Obviously, until you got to episode 5.
Right. I think they actually started really good, but like by the second episode, like it was kind of like really like boring. Maybe I would have to say like they were really constant the way they sort of manage it. So like there wasn't like a motivational like stop to like I have to keep watching it or like, you know, stay like really focused with it. Like I don't know what happened on those episodes that
I'm looking it up because now I'm just like, wait, what happens episode 2?
Right.
I don't know. I honestly, I loved it from the beginning. I did not know what to expect. I know Josbando is like kind of really in touch with what goes on in like with comic books and everything. So he knew about it a little bit more. So when it first started, I was like, what is this show? Why is this so beautiful? What is happening? I didn't even know it was like in production or anything. I'm just so completely out of it. And he's like, yeah, this has been in production for a while. They've been trying to get it made for years. They say apparently it's a really, really good adaptation of the graphic novel. So I've been debating actually reading it because I want to know what happens next. But I think maybe what turned you off is that at the beginning, Dream, you know, the whole time he's incarcerated, he doesn't even speak. So maybe you thought that was a little boring. I don't know, but I thought that
actually that part I consider that part
good.
really, like, good.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was after that where
after he's released.
Yeah, after he's released, like the way he like I don't know. I don't know if it was like more
like the fetch quest, trying to find the sand and then trying to find
right.
Yeah.
That part I thought it could be better. Like instead of like, okay, I have to find the ruby and I have to find the sand and I don't know. I would have thought
the fetch quest.
Right.
Interesting. Because for me, the problem that I had with the series was, I like the series, but the problem that I had with the seasons was how divided it felt, right? Because we had, and I was just reading a little bit the synopsis here of all the episodes because I didn't remember like how much of
That's
first episodes were so self-contained because I didn't remember that he actually just escaped in the first episode. I thought it happened in the second one. So like now I'm going through and I'm like, oh my god, like the first half, like 1 through 5, like it's very dynamic, you know, like each episode is something different. I mean, obviously it's tied back to the, you know, having to find all his little collectibles, whatever, like the sand and the mask and the ruby and all that stuff. But like each episode kind of stands on its own, and it's very, they have their own journey, and it's very self-contained in that sense. But then after you get to episode 5, which is like glorious, the diner episode, and then Morpheus gets back the ruby, and it's a really awesome confrontation, and we have Professor Lupin as the antagonist,
who was fantastic, by the way.
Who was fantastic.
He was so good.
He was amazing. I loved him. But I thought he was like the villain,
the
right?
ultimate bad guy. Yeah.
This is where the story's going, and all of a sudden episode 5 happens, and I'm just like, oh, so that's over. So
that's the end.
So this is it. So like, what's the next? So it's like 5 other episodes of post-credit scenes. Is this what's gonna happen?
I was so confused when that happened. It's like, wait, are we done now? It's episode 5. What?
I mean, this is what you set up, and the show's over now. So the latter half of the season was where like I was a little disappointed with it. Not to say that it was bad. I thought it was really good.
Except episode 6 was really great too. I really loved episode 6.
The death episode was amazing. It was really good. But in terms of like the cohesive narrative of the because it's not season 2, but it's not season 1. It's like season 1.5, at least in my mind. Because like this season is like divided into 2, and you're not gonna convince me otherwise. And this second half just felt like it lost a little bit of the magic of the first one, because it was so narrative driven and so kind of linear in that sense, right? Which is like, well, we have to find the vortex, and the vortex is this, and this is what happens, and then we go to the serial convention, and then blah, it's kind of like it felt more traditional, not sitcom, but traditional show, so to speak, and less mystical and magical and like explorative, like the first half was. Right. That it kind of was a little downer for me.
I had to say
been its own season,
Right. I have to say that I did enjoy the gargoyle, the Gregory part on the pet. I love that pet on the second episode. So I enjoyed the second episode.
Okay, now we're going back.
Right.
that we did like Gregory.
He was amazing. He was amazing and cute. And I appreciate that, like, I was like, well, they're not going to break our hearts by killing him without like some payoff. It's too early to just be killing beautiful creatures. And all of a sudden, like, okay, here you go.
We get another one. Thank you. Yeah.
Here's the golden one. Now you get a better one. Well, we don't have to. We have to wait to see if it's.
We'd have to wait to see.
Hypothetically, a better one.
For now, it's a baby and it's cute, so it's maybe better. But did you guys feel that way? Like that the series was a little disjointed between like first half and second half? Yeah. And if so, did it work or did it not work for you guys? I'll just start with Nani, since like since you got me into this mess.
So yeah, it definitely felt like it was divided. It was 2 completely separate arcs, kind of. I think we would have to look at the source material to see why they decided to do that, because as far as I know, it's been said that it's almost like a page-to-page interpretation of the graphic novel. So maybe the graphic novels are like this. They're just separate arcs. And eventually, through those arcs, you get to know the characters better. So maybe they just wanted to keep it as faithful to the source material as they wanted, and that's just how it ended up. So since I haven't read them, I can't really comment on that. But yeah, I was really surprised when you get to the end of 5, because I think that's the last episode that we watched that first day. And then when we woke up the next day, I remember asking Hospanda, like, wait, did we just finish that? Was that fight over? Are we done? Let's rewatch the end of that episode, because I'm just like, what? Is that really what happened? Oh, okay. And then we get episode 6, which like the death episode was amazing, but it is its own contained thing. I mean, it stands completely alone, even though it was completely amazing. And then even though those first 5 episodes, it felt that it really wasn't able to give you that entire arc, but then the other one, even though it's 4 episodes, it's just 1 episode less, but it felt a little bit rushed and like not complete, and I didn't get into it as much, even though the whole idea of serial killer conventions is just great. But in general, just because we had already met the Corinthian, he didn't necessarily feel like this like ultimate bad guy, like punch you in the face for that second arc, especially in comparison to how great the villains that we got for that first arc, because first the original man that traps him, and then the mother, and then Lupin. So you get like these series of just kind of
the
bad
devil,
guys that are, Well, Lucifer isn't even a bad guy for me. That was amazing. Lucifer was great. And you did get a lot of way more mythology in that first arc as well. I mean, you get Cain and Abel, you get the Fates, Lucifer, obviously, and everything was played so well. And then you get these DC characters that we know already have their own properties, like Lucifer, and then Lucifer's a man in the series that exists right now. So we were thinking like, well, how are they going to do this? And Wally was like, it's going to be a woman. It's going to be a woman. And then we get Gwendolyn, who's like Phasma and, you know, Brienne of Tarth. And it was so exquisite. And she had amazing outfits, by the way. So it was so cool, that play on that it is these characters, but we're flipping them because it's their own thing, which is something DC has been better at doing, usually better than Marvel. And then doing John Constantine as Joanna Constantine was great as well. You know, it's still the same overcoat and everything, but it's a badass woman. And it's like, I have a relationship with your family for forever. So it was really good, like bringing in those characters with the myth, with the storytelling. And then Dream himself was exquisitely acted. That first episode where he doesn't even speak, like there's so much range of emotion in just the facial expressions. And then when he does speak like that, I fell in love with his voice right away. There's something very ethereal and kind of slow and methodical about the way he speaks. And so all in all, yeah, it felt a little bit disjunctive, but I think it worked regardless. Like, I didn't like the second half as much as the first one, but I still liked the series as a whole, and I really can't wait to see more.
Joanna, did you feel like the show was kind of divided up there? And if it felt that way, did it work for you or did it not work for you? What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have to say I felt it was a little divided. I wanted to like maybe extend like episode 5 and then have another episode related to that on the next one, or maybe 2 more of that one. I was really like satisfied the part he emphasized that if like he wanted to eliminate the lies, and if then after that, if the suffering is what it's truth, then suffering is what's what it's gonna like be part of them. And then that part is where I wanted to like know more about that part and how the characters evolved in that, and well, having suffering and like, you know, I felt that part was a little missing. And after that, everything changed. So on episode 6, like it was good because Dev had several messages and life lessons for
Morpheus.
For the right. But for Morpheus, but yeah, I think it wasn't like, it was definitely separated.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like I feel that I mean, okay, well, before I get into like the latter half, do you feel though that if we had we had a part of making the show, if the showrunners and writers had decided to make those first 5 episodes into like the full 10 episode season, do you feel that would have been better to let that breathe a little bit more and develop like Professor Lupin's antagonism, for example? Or do you think it would have just been a slog and it just been like too boring because we would have like, instead of like distilling everything to like its essence, kind of like they did, you know, it's just like this is the essence of each episode and like it's kind of perfect. If we had extended it, do you think it would have been like too much?
I think it would have been boring if they would have extended because the episodes as they were up to episode 5, they worked. They were contained. They had the story that you needed. Sometimes it's good to not know exactly what's happening and have to kind of slowly figure it out, and not everything has to be said, you know? Because we knew that there was something incredibly disturbing that had happened to, you know, Lupin's character, but you don't need to get into all the detail about it. Just that entire car ride and the conversations, and it's so creepy as she notices that she put a psychopath in her car and just slowly dissecting it. And he's so calm about it. Like,
Yeah, he's nice. He's a nice guy.
you know, I murdered a bunch of people, but they kind of had it coming, and you know, just don't betray me and you'll be fine. You know, and it's so good. So I think if you change that, you would change the essence of what was happening in those episodes. I think it would have been cool to explore a little bit more, you know, the aspect of the truth, the suffering, but still, I think it was pretty well explained. It's like, no, that is not their truth. It's their truth because they lose their dreams, they lose their hope, and then you just get everything that's ugly. But you're missing the essence, because if they are allowed to hope, it's not necessarily a lie. It's motivation. It's more than that. So,
well, camera.
We lost Joanne.
She'll be back.
She'll be back.
But I think that was my issue, though, was that precisely I mean, I think we would have benefited a lot from. I mean, I agree. I agree with you that like the episodes were kind of perfect in the sense of like how they just got to the essence of what they were trying to say with each episode. But especially with like Lupin's character, one issue
I love that it's just like Lupin's character is just Lupin's character.
It's like, sorry, you can't be Professor Lupin and then stop being Professor Lupin. It's sorry. That's
John
how it goes.
D is the character, but yeah.
Professor Lupin. Okay, Remus Lupin. You can't. I'm sorry, you're Remus to me.
I know.
Forever.
You're right. I know.
It was one of my favorite characters from the books, so it's kind of like, and you did a good job portraying him in the film.
Oh,
so
yeah, I know, it works. It's fantastic. I agree.
It's your fault for doing it well. Anyway, but I felt like they never got to that point where he was a threat to Morpheus, and I think it was because of how quick the fetch quest was for Morpheus in that sense. It's just like, okay, well, I need to get my 3 things, and I just get them immediately. You know, there isn't really like too much of a struggle. It's because, I mean, he did struggle with Lucifer, right? But it was still kind of like, well, I'm struggling just in one episode. It wasn't like, oh shit, like, you know, I gotta really figure this out. It kind of felt a little too quick. So the fact that like the big antagonist here like stole your power and all these things, and has, like, this big plan, and after 24/7, right? That episode, I felt that it was gonna like kind of open the floodgates. It's like, okay, here's what he can do at a small scale. Imagine what he can start doing. So I thought like we were gonna go even harder on that, and kind of like Morpheus was gonna have like a tougher time trying to get the ruby back. But all of a sudden she's like, oh no, never mind. You kind of played yourself by destroying the ruby, because now I reabsorbed it and it's done. So I felt like there could have been a little bit more development, not necessarily in terms of backstory, but in terms of conflict with like how the story is developing forward, so that it felt a little more. But I would have done it like post episode 5. Leave everything up to 5 the way it was, and then maybe explore the story a little bit more, especially once you realize, because the whole time we're watching that episode, we think he's just doing those changes inside of the diner. And it's not till later when you start hearing the news and everything that he's actually affecting everything outside as well. So, you know, dealing with the aftermath of all of that could have been, you know, like a mirror episode. Like, oh, this is what was going on inside the diner, but this is what was going on in the rest of the world. You know, I think that would have been really cool, especially how Morpheus would have had to deal with it, because in that one, it's just like everybody gets a day of rest and then we keep moving forward. So it was like kind of brushed off that apocalypse like, basically happened. And it's like, okay, I'm going to get everybody in full night's rest. And then the next episode, I'm going to have an existential crisis that I'm going to need my sister to get me out of, so I can feel connected to humanity again, you know? So, which was great. Because that was my issue with episode 6. I mean, as amazing as the death episode was, it kind of like felt like, okay, we're starting completely new. Like everything that you just watched, never mind. This is a new thing that's happening now. So that's why I kind of felt like maybe it should have been 2 separate. And if it's gonna be the same season, maybe they should have done like what Netflix has done with Stranger Things or other shows on Netflix, where they release the first half first, and then they release the second half later, so it kind of feels, you know, like it breathes a little bit independently. So maybe that would have helped, because in that sense it kind of helped them breathe independently, because that death episode, as awesome as it was, it felt like starting
like, wait, what happened? But what happened with the rest of everything that was going
starting brand new. And I think maybe season 2, I'm still thinking about it as a season 2. Maybe that second half would have benefited from fleshing itself out a little bit more so that we can get Desire in there a little bit more.
Oh, how
we can
great was
see-
Desire?
So we can see what they're doing, right, with everything. Because I feel like they were awesome. Obviously, they were pulling the strings since the beginning, but the fact that they were so kind of like, I'm here in a couple scenes here, and then at the end, it's kind of like, haha, it's like the aha moment, and then it's over. So I would have liked to have seen them integrated a little bit more with the show, so that way you can still get the whole dream realm mystical thing still interwoven with the whole vortex stuff. And then I feel like the payoffs would have been better, because I feel like now season 2 is going to be even more interesting than like the latter half than season 1, since we have this Desire is out to get Morpheus
with Despair
and Lucifer. So it's gonna so he's gonna have like a war on two fronts type of thing. So I mean, again, I don't want to make it seem like I didn't like part 2 of season 1. I'm just saying that part 2 kind of felt very different from part 1, and I would have liked it to kind of have like more. I would have liked it to have felt more connected. That's all I'm saying. Welcome back, Joanne.
Technical difficulties are a part of life.
Right.
It always happens. Don't worry.
Especially
when we edit it, it's gonna look. It's no one's gonna notice. No one's gonna notice.
Perfect.
except when they hear me saying this right now. But besides that, it's fine. But what were your favorite parts then of the Sandman so far? Joanne, let's start with you since you just rejoined us. What was your favorite part of the show?
I think it was overall the message, like adapt or die, because he, like, Morpheus was kind of like losing hope and faith, and he didn't know like how to like continue and like feel like complete or happy, and then death gives him like some like life lessons to like so that he can continue and keep up with his mission of like of dreams per se. And I think it's not a specific part, but overall the whole like message of the Sandman.
Yeah. Honey, what about you?
There was a lot I liked. As you've heard me gush like a crazy lady today.
Top 2.
There's so many things.
I know. I really love the concept of the endless. I love that they are all named by D's. Desire, despair, death, dream, the ones we met already, but we know there's destiny out there, and there's a prodigal that's missing. I really want to know which one that is. That seems really cool. But I really enjoyed the power of just the dreaming, how it affects us so much if we lose that we don't really think about. We spend, a third of our lives asleep. And
or more if you like naps.
Or more if you like naps. And then especially people like us that are really, into nerd stuff. Like, I have really screwed up dreams sometimes. And to have an entire realm devoted to that, and the fact that you need kind of like a god figure to manage it because it's just too much. And then one of the things that I did like about the vortex part is all these people and the dreams that they're having and the various dreams, and Barbie, who has like this mythic quest dream sequence going on, it's
we're just like what?
Things that you just don't expect, and just the way that it was done and shot, and the endless possibilities of it really, really, called to my nerd fantasy heart, and I thought that was great. But there's a lot of good stuff in this show.
There is a lot. I do. I and for me it was that whole world building, right? Like this setting up like this whole because we've seen like that's one of the things that I respect of the show, and it's not new. So like to say this new show, it's like no, because obviously Sandman was written, I don't know how back when, but for me it's new because I just saw it. But like we've seen so many like fantastical worlds already, not just Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and the MCU, but we've seen a lot of it, right? So it's always it's kind of hard to like create something that we haven't seen because
it looks original and
looks original, but but this like this whole mythic realm that it's just like both has a lot of Christianity into it, but also, obviously also has a lot of like Greek mythology and Roman Greek and Roman is kind of the same thing. But you know what I mean. Kind of mixing all of these things to create something that's kind of new and magical. It was really refreshing because usually you kind of get things isolated. It's like, well, this is the Greek realm, this is the Nordic realm, this is the Christianity, but to kind of mash them together, I thought was a really clever thing, and mash them together in a cohesive language, right? Because they don't feel Christian, they don't feel Greek, you know. It's like, no, it's just one language, and they're all interwoven with each other, which I thought was like the cool thing about it. It's like, okay, we're not separating them, we're not making them look cliche from the origin that they come from. It's just like, no, they all share one vocabulary because they all come from the same place. Was, I think, a really, really fun and interesting thing that they did. But I did also like appreciate what you were saying, Joanna, the whole message of the show, and like how we can feel desensitized a little bit with the roles and tasks that we have, and how we have to find the meaning and purpose through all of them. And I especially liked, now that you reminded me of that, it's like how that was exemplified with Galt and the Corinthian specifically, because it reminded me a lot all of a sudden, like me thinking of like how the Corinthian is basically Darth Maul, right? It's like these characters that are stuck in their loop, who have been set on their path by their master or creator, and they just can't break of it. And that's the difference between those types of characters and characters like Galt, right? Who could be like, I'm forgetting Star Wars reference character, like Darth Vader, right? It was like in their dark path, but discovers that they can be like, actually I can turn to the light and be a good character. Was really a beautiful thing. And like Galt, that just looks like an evil character and just repurposed to be a beautiful being that's out there to do good, was kind of a really, really, really cool thing, and really good message, because it resonates. It's a kind of an eternal message that we shouldn't get tired of, because it's renewal, right? We all go through our cycles, and we all should understand that like our cycles also recycle, and we have to just be in a constant mood of reinvention. Lucien, I have to give like a big, a big shout out to Lucien, because her character was dope. She's the only, she was giving sass to the Dream Lord, and he wasn't taking it at first, but then he's like, okay, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I do need help. So another big thing, realizing that we do need help, and to accept help is a big thing. So I really appreciated that. I was not the biggest fan of Patton Oswalt. I think that he needs to stop being in stuff, because I think he's in too many things right now. It's like, I know you're a nerd, Patton, and you're funny, I like you, but maybe don't be in every nerd thing, because he was just in Eternals and the post-credit scene with like Harry Styles and stuff, and like he's in everything. It was like, stop, and I don't know, I wasn't a big fan. How do you guys feel about his character as what was his name? What Raven
Matthew.
name? Matthew. How did you guys feel of Matthew? Did you like that Raven? Did you not like that Raven? Was it too much? Was it too? Because it took me out of the moment. All of a sudden, like to hear Patton Oswalt be Patton Oswalt and talk like Patton Oswalt. And it's like, whoa! It just took me out of the dream.
For some reason, I sort of like love the voice of Matthew.
I loved it too.
but it was quite interesting. Like I don't know. It was I was expecting something different rather than like a actual human voice. Like, hey, I'm here, I'm Matthew.
Yeah, which is why I liked it. I actually like
it. Right.
Because to me, it was like so incongruous to like you hear like Dream's ethereal voice, and then Matthew like, I'm Matthew the Raven. Like I was a dude.
It's like, hey guys,
now I'm dead.
Like, oh my god.
And he's very explicit. I was a human in my past life, so
I don't know.
I thought that part. So
maybe because I'm too I'm too familiar with like Patton Oswalt being and stuff that's just like jarring for me. It's like, what? Like I was not expecting that. He's such a distinctive voice too. It's just like it's just like you cannot hear his. It's not like Mark Hamill, who's a great voice actor. So like they can master voice however they want. And I didn't even realize he was the pumpkin person until looking at trivia from the show. So it's just like he can do that stuff. But Patton Oswalt is Patton Oswalt. That voice cannot change it. But I am glad that you enjoyed it. We need positivity. It can't just be we can't just have my criticism here.
Well, we can't have toxic positivity either.
That's true.
We don't have to love everything, you know.
That's true. That's true. Some things suck. Some things suck. Yeah.
But I did like it because it sounded so out of place that it just, I don't know, it just paradoxically make me like it, the fact that it was like so out of place.
Okay.
For some reason I enjoyed it. So
But my question is, will you like actually accept having a raven but besides you, like Matthew?
No, I wanted a raven. The thing is, I wanted a raven to come back because I thought that first raven, like, it just shocked me, right? When like the raven,
I was just shocked. I was not expecting.
picking at the glass ball, and all of a sudden,
yep,
they destroy the raven in a very aggressive way. I was like, whoa,
yeah.
What the?
I did not see that coming.
That.
I was like, what?
So,
oh my God.
So I was just like, well, he needs a raven, right? Like the raven looks cool. He needs one. So I was just like rooting for a second one. I was just not expecting what we got.
Matthew.
I was okay with it being like a comedic raven. I think that's not my problem. My problem was
Patton Oswalt specifically.
Yeah. No disrespect to him. He's great. He's hilarious. I love his comedy. I usually like him in things that he's in. It's just like it was a double whammy seeing him in Eternals and now seeing him here. It's just like it's like, don't be in everything. Just
don't be
relax. You're rich. You don't need to be in everything. Just calm down.
Oh my God.
That's it. It's purely petty. It's purely petty on my part. I can look into myself and recognize that it's just a me problem.
That is just petty.
Yes, it's me being petty and obnoxious, and I accept that. I accept that. I can look in the mirror on this one.
Ay, Dios mío.
Season 2, though, what do we want to see in season 2? Because we've talked about like all the highs and lows that we've experienced through season 1, but obviously with Desire and Lucifer, there's a couple of loose ends that they set up. So what do we want to see? Well, I mean, do we even want to see a season 2? And if we do, what do we want to see from season 2? Joanne, let's start with you.
I guess I'll have to watch season 2 because I already started season 1. But
now you're attached. You're committed.
But I'm definitely looking forward to see more on Desire. The confront between Desire and Morpheus, because Morpheus actually like was the one who had the baby to create the vortex. So I'm looking forward to know more about that story. So
more Desire.
More Desire.
I desire Desire.
I desire Desire.
Nani, how about you?
Yeah, definitely more. Give me more Endless. Give me all of the D's, all of them.
Be careful what you wish for. That's this is a family friendly show. I don't know what you're talking about.
I said D. They all the names start with a D. Okay,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
Yeah, this is completely innocent. Okay.
I hope so.
Yes, I have a very clean mind. Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, I really
sounded like that was kind of like a pink milk steam room all of a sudden. Here.
A little bit. Just
this is a different show.
But yeah, I really want to know more about the Endless, and I was very curious because Death is like, oh, we had the last family dinner. I want to see how that happens, like how the family dynamics, like family dynamics of all these people and what went down like that entire year. Obviously, now we know that Desire and Despair basically tricked, Morpheus into getting trapped, but clearly at least Death knew about it, and they talked about it at the family dinner. So that entire year, what were they doing? I mean, do they really not care about Dream? And then
some do, some don't.
So I'm really interested in the family dynamics there because it's really clearly very dysfunctional family, but I would like to see that explored more. And then obviously everything that's going on with Lucifer, because I thought that was also a very, very, very cool character that we didn't get to see enough of. So now that we know that there's conflict there, and like you were saying before, Goose, like on both fronts now, because the family side and Lucifer as well, trying to, get the dreaming, so I think it's all of that, just all of it.
Yeah. For sure. I agree with both of you. But what I really hope for season 2 is that, in extension to that, is that we keep seeing it be more in the realm of the dreaming, because I think those were like the at least visually, that was like the most compelling parts of the show. It's like when he's traveling through hell, or when he's like parting the water to get to the thing, to get to the fates and all that stuff, and like all the, you know, all the wondrous, dreamlike, mythical, all the, you know, all the big visuals things like really sold me like on the show, because it just looked so compelling that like now I want to see like an expansion of that, right? Because we saw a little bit of Desire's world and how it looks completely different from the dreaming and from hell. It's very shiny, you know, very looped up. So I would like, it's true, they set it up. It's there. It's there. So I would definitely like to see like the expansion of that world and see. I mean, not to say that we can't see a little bit of Earth. That's fine. We have to have our pitiful humans do something, I guess. But I definitely prefer to like see that word, that you know, that godlike world, the unconscious world. And like see how how that mythos expands, and see all those visuals really go to the next level, and see how it can be different now that, based on which world you're in, right?
And especially now that he's kind of like rebuilding it and kind of reconnecting with it, and reconnecting with the dreams themselves and the nightmares and the humans inhabiting the world, and you know, so that'd be really cool. And the visuals are just, I mean, because now that we were talking about hell, I just remembered that how genius it was that there's like people are a part of everything that's happening. Like it's the trees are people being damned, and in the cave and everything. And it was intense the first time that you notice that it's like there's people there. It's like, oh my god!
It was kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean too. That man's chest, when like everyone's just
parts of the ship.
Flying Dutchman. They're condemned to be just a part. I was like, oh, that's cool. Even creepier because it's hell. But Lucifer did imply that, you know, what she's gonna do now is gonna make God, you know, kind of not feel too hot about what she's gonna do. So like maybe we get to see like the realm of heaven or some shit, or whatever version of that is there, and see God and all that plays out. So we can have a really cool battle royale. I mean, maybe God is in season 3. We can't do everything
slowly.
Or maybe in the second half of season 2. Who knows? If they do the exact same thing. Like splitting the season up and just doing like 2 different stories.
Doing the arcs,
But I'm very excited for season 2 of the Sandman, if and when it happens. And you know,
here's hoping it does.
Here's to hoping. I mean, it should. It's apparently like Sandman's doing well, not just with critics and reviewers, but also in streaming. They're getting good numbers, allegedly. So I don't see why not. I don't see why not. Here's to hoping. And it's always nice, to take like our little breaks from the Star Wars galaxy to like see other media and what other
especially now that we're getting a lot of Star Wars coming up soon. So
oh my god,
very exciting.
It's gonna be a tough couple of weeks there. But with that, I think our little review and discussion on the Sandman is done, unless anyone has any final thoughts, although I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Adding up to what you just said, definitely I would also like to see the unconscious part, because like adding a fun fact, there's like only 3% that we're only conscious, so we have to definitely see more on the unconscious world and his film. So
I'm terrified of that other side that we haven't even touched the surface. I was gonna this morning I woke up and I had like the worst dream ever, so I can only imagine the things that I'm actually thinking about that I don't even, and that I'm not even cognizant of. So my god, nightmare fuel.
So I'm all for it going weirder and darker and brighter at the same time, because that's what's beautiful about it. Some of it is like very, very beautiful and compelling, and then other is very dark. So you can have both in one show. And then I think that's one of the good,
for light, really for dark.
One of the good things about Sandman. So here's hoping for more. But I think with that, we are done. We are Triad of the Force. Thank you for joining us again, even though it wasn't all Star Wars today, but we are more than Star Wars.
We are more, yes. We're not a monolith. We're not defined by one thing.
You can love many things and enjoy them.
This is true.
And hate other things. It's all good.
But anyway, not hate. Dislike.
Dislike. And criticize productively.
Yeah, constructively. Be constructive. Yeah.
You can find us wherever podcasts can be found. Just search Triad of the Force. Like us, please. Subscribe. Leave us some comments. And until the next time, may the Force be with you.